this is Gordon Pepper, and well, welcome to the UBA. We've been out for a good hot minute, or maybe a couple of months, and I am here with your Northeast Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Alex Prell. Again, how's it going?
I'm still here. I'm 3 months later. It's still here.
3 months later, you're still there. You got a nice shiny belt there.
I do.
You have the love of your life, Miss Allie Suffin, somewhere in the background.
Yeah, she's over there.
She's over there. But you have another love of your life, and this one's a little bit more recent. So tell me about this, or show me about this, maybe.
Hold on. Come here. Hold on.
This show has gone to the dogs, literally.
Ah, yes. My new puppy.
My
new little puppy. She's a Beagle English Bulldog, and her name is Lola, and I rescued her, and she's 6 months old.
Very cool. I would say hi, Lola, but I don't think she would understand me, so I'll just say woof, 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 and then we'll be on our way. So how are you dealing with the quarantine right now?
With this.
Lola is now officially a this.
So let's see. Being that I work for a school, I've been blessed to, still be kind of on a regular pay schedule. So I've been blessed with that. I've been working a couple hours here and there. We just got back to starting full time this week. I was doing some full time work with them the 2 weeks prior. But outside of that, it's been a lot of training the dog, spending time with my fiance, Allie, and just kind of just staying busy. You'd probably be proud of me. I've been watching a lot of GSN, so I'm really good at America Says, apparently.
GSN, for all the uninitiated, stands for Game Show Network, and if you've watched enough of it, you may have seen me a couple of times on that network and some of my writing and etc. But we'll have that conversation for another time. Let's talk about you and the belt. How does the belt feel hanging out here for a couple of months and just taking the shine, as we say?
Well, I'm charging it rent. So hoping it stays here for a while. The money helps. It's nice. Obviously as a competitor, you'd like to kind of defend it once or twice or bowl for it every now and then. Obviously that would help line the pockets a little bit also. But it's been nice. The last time I had it, I won at Van Ness for old school, and I didn't have it when I went to Virginia the next month. So it's nice to have a nice extended stay with it and actually, get a little bit more acquainted with having it in my possession for a while, even though, it took a quarantine to do so.
It doesn't matter how you get it. It's just that you have it. Now, you spoke about Virginia. Let's chat about Mega Bowl, which happened now in the middle of March. So we're talking around 3 months. And your match with James Niffen was definitely a classic. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So I left work that night around midnight, and I shot straight down to Mega Bowl from there. I went home. And got everything set up, and I drove down. I think I got there probably around 6 in the morning. And thankfully, Miguel had an extra bed in his room, so I kind of just hopped in and, thank you, Miguel. So anyway, I went and watched Miguel bowl the singles. That was that morning, I believe. And I watched James bowl a little bit on the other side. So then we get to the match, which is obviously what you want to know about. So I get off to a fast start. I was pretty comfortable, honestly. I got off to a fast start, and then the left lane for me was the left lane for me was my good lane, and the right lane for me was the one where I kind of had to be a pinch softer with my speed. And I got up into the 10th frame, and I was on my good lane, and I think I needed I think I needed all three to. I was ahead, but I think I needed all three to I needed spare strike or something like that to do no worse than tie or make him punch out or some one combo of that. And of course, you know, when you're having to adjust on one lane and then you stupidly bring it to the other lane where you don't have to, I bring out our old friend Richard,
Mm-hmm.
and I big four, and then he, I think he got like the first one or first two, and he won that game. So I kind of gave that one to him a little bit when you look back at it. And really, if you know, in the grand scheme of it, that really kind of ended up costing me, because all I needed to do was just not be an idiot the first game. Then if you play out the rest of it, honestly, it probably doesn't even go that far. No disrespect to James, but the way that the match was kind of going, the second game, he needed 9 on the field. He needed a strike to win, 9 to tie. He got 8, so then it was 1-1. Then I won game 2. Then it was 2-1. I blew him out in that one. And then game 4, he won. I won game 5. And when I say that I should have won in 5, because if I had won that first game,
if you won the first game, it's over.
Well, when I look at it this way, James didn't bowl bad. You know, our scores were decent and whatnot. But James, the way that I felt like it was going, James didn't really have much until the South crowd got there.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't necessarily affect me much. It wasn't that like their noise and their rowdiness affected me more than it helped him.
Right.
Because like it was just kind of like whatever for me. Like I enjoyed all of the attention and the heckling going on in the back, which also a credit to them. Like all of them came up after and were like, you know, hey man, you know, you bowled great. You know, it's really easy to say all the stuff that we're saying from back here, than being in your position, in your shoes, up on the approach up there. So you did great. Like it's one of those things where I feel like sometimes in bowling, you know, where people say, oh, you know, when it's just bowling, and you know, after you get off the approach and stuff like that, you're all friends, but really it doesn't always work that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unfortunately, that's how it goes. But these people were literally like, hey man, like it's just bowling. Like, you know, they, you know, shook my hand and well, COVID elbows and everything, you know, they were all great. So, but once they started getting rowdy, because I actually started game 6, I had like the first like 4 or 5, and then I stoned the 9-pin. I just pushed the rack back and I left the 9-pin. It just like just gut punch right there. And that was when James started to strike, and that was when the South crowd really started getting into it. And I think because of his ability to feed off of that, you know, he kind of took it and ran with it. But also the game that he ended up beating me, game 6, the game that he ended up stealing for me to win that, it was like 259 to 253 or some wacky number.
Crazy number, yeah.
It was a number where it's like both of us bowled good enough to win. It just so happened that I fell a few pins short that game. But every game except like 1 or 2 of them went to the 10th frame. It was honestly a very entertaining match. And, you know, we were able to build it up with the whole pancake waffle nonsense going into it. So at least, like, there was a lot of people who actually brought that up, like, throughout, like, Mega Bowl, like, when I was there and they were talking to me, and they were people were at the match and stuff like that. So it was nice to actually see some attention going there. And, you know, a lot of people don't want to kind of banter back and forth with the matches because they feel like everyone's going to get in their feelings and whatnot. But there's a way to go about it where you could promote a match and have fun. Like, you could talk to your opponent on the side and be like, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, coordinate it. Where it's like you guys have an understanding of what's going on, and then it's just all about just creating the buzz and creating the fun of the match and getting people to actually care and pay attention. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people from the North for me there because we're in the South, but that was probably the most people I've ever actually bowled in front of in one single setting, and it was an amazing feeling. And I can't wait till that happens again.
Well, let's chat about that because let's just say hypothetically Battle Ball does wind up happening, and you can sort of think about that because Bowl-O-Rama, which has traditionally been where Battle Bowl is held, is now open, and they've been bringing in people, and the attendance, according to them, has been really good. So let's just say hypothetically, we maybe see a rematch. Is that potentially?
I hope so. I hope so, because the first one was good enough where I feel like it's best for business, only for it to happen again.
Now,
I'm just being honest. If the UBA wants what's best for business, then they need me versus James for round 2. Because nothing against George and nothing against whoever is the number one contender for the South right now.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to put up a nice little show like me and James had, and especially because of the fact that we had a great time with the first match and stuff like that. It's only right that we get a second one. And I'm not just saying that because I lost.
Well, let's chat about Mr. Wolf here for a second. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, you do have to bowl him before you go to Battle Bowl, which is a possibility. The bowling alleys are open. There's certainly something that could happen there. What's your thoughts? And by George, I mean obviously George Williams.
Yeah. What's my thoughts on bowling him?
Mm-hmm.
Survive in advance. Just keep going. My goal is to get to Battle Bowl. I've already been to Battle Bowl as a champion once. And, some of those unfortunate turns of events in that title match didn't exactly go my way. On me and my partner's side. And I love my partner. I love Red. Red's the man.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to do great things together as a tag team. We were on the list for a couple of years together, and we made it to Battle Bowl. We did what we wanted to do. We just didn't, seal the deal there. But the nice way to put this is you learn through your losses, and you learn to win by losing. So every time you lose, or every time I've lost or something, I always take something away for it that I know for the next time. And, that's just the way you got to look at it,
Here's the funny thing about George Williams, because you've said you learned from your losses. George Williams on the ranking list lost the cashing spot on the very last match last year. And one of the things that he told me is part of the reasons why he went on the World Championship Series was because he was so bleeped off about losing in the last match and losing the cash spot. He's just like, I'm a better bowler than that. I want to show everybody that I'm good enough to do damage in the World Championship Series list.
Pyramid bowling ball strike.
Yep. And he's won a number of matches against some very impressive opponents, including somebody that you're very familiar with, Reese Marsh. He defeated him going up the ladder. He's defeated other people going up the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
So you say survive in advance. My question is there any chance, because he is a character, is there any chance you're going to overlook him and staring at James Niffen, or what?
No, I wouldn't say I wouldn't. I don't overlook anyone. I mean, I did that the last time I did that, and this is no disrespect to that bowler, but the last time that happened and I overlooked somebody, there was somebody that I probably should have won in 4, and it went to me punching out in the 10th of Game 7 to win, and that wasn't this year. That was a couple of years ago.
If it's who I think it is, it was a number of years ago. Yeah.
It was at Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
You probably know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No disrespect to the person. We won't name them. But that's just my personal opinion. But obviously they were in that position for a reason, so obviously they're not a bad bowler. So, but that's besides the point.
And that's why you play the game. How many upsets have we seen in the World Championship Series?
Plenty.
Many.
I beat Ray. That was an upset. I don't even care if it was at Van Ness.
I don't know how much of an upset it is. You've got the shiny belt.
No, that was a couple years ago. But I still had the shiny belt for a little while.
Right. And you have the shiny belt now.
That's right. I have many titles.
Yes, I know this from Ray. Ray is a little bit cranky that he lost, and he's going to make his way back up that chart soon also.
I would expect it. Someone of his caliber, I would expect that to happen.
Absolutely. And
we also talk about the fact that my partner, my team owner, and one of my best friends, Brian Paul, we are also in a number 1 contenders match for the uncapped tag team titles once bowling resumes.
That is very true.
And Brian, and I don't even care if people want to think this is my opinion, Brian's the best bowler in the U.B.A. who has never owned a U.B.A. title, who has participated in the WCS.
He actually came within 1 game 4 times of winning a title.
Yes, as I said, he is the best bowler in the U.B.A. to be in the WCS and not win a title. He has come close so many times that he deserves it, and damn it, I'm going to help him get it because he deserves it.
He was at I was going to say you were there for this story. He was up 3-0 at Bowler City.
No. I wasn't there for that one. I was at Battle Bowl.
Yeah, he should have won that one also.
When he bowled against Tom.
That is true.
He made that big comeback to be 3-3, and then Tom ended up winning. And lo and behold, look at me, like 5 years later, we're on the same team. Funny how things happen, man.
Well, no, Brian, but one thing that you said about Brian Paul, you're absolutely right. He's been very close to the top of the mountain a number of times, and as you've said, he's 2 matches away from winning a piece of the belt from the tag team side, and that's gonna be.
He deserves it. You know, he's one of my best friends. He's my team owner, and you know, he's a great bowler. He's a great person, and you know, he deserves it. He deserves to get his shot in the spotlight for once.
Here's what I think about Brian Paul. I think once he gets the first win,
it's gonna snowball. It's just gonna be it's gonna be a freight train. He won't miss, because he's even come close. There's been a few times where if it ended up working out, that if he actually won this, I would have been his first defense. We were talking about that possibly happening.
Yeah, that's a possibility also. Now, let's talk about Dennis Kilo here, because that's another part of the equation that we're not chatting about, and he's only your world champion.
Yes. I was a little disappointed that I did not get a shot at that, because there were a lot of people who I talked to at Mega Bowl that were saying, if anyone's going to beat Dennis, it's going to be a lefty, and it's going to be at the house that you're bowling at. Because Dennis will not lose to a righty. Dennis will not lose to a righty. If anyone's going to beat him, it's going to be a lefty, and it's going to be in a lefty house, and that's exactly where his world championship match was. And I definitely thought about that on the way home. I honestly, on that long ride home, because I was so, like, I don't want to say mad. Like, I was okay with the fact that I lost, but I just had, like, this just, like, sense of just disappointment, like, the whole way home. I didn't say anything until I hit, like, past Newark going home. That was just, like, one silent car ride going home. Oh, man. But no, from everything, I haven't personally seen Dennis bowl in person, but from everything that I've heard, and I mean, I watched him versus James before the Mega Bowl match, because I mean, I tried to scout both of the guys just to see kind of like how they bounce back from errors, and you know, like how James was on his corner pin shooting, and just, you know, stuff like that. Trying to get little like tells that some of the bowlers have, like, you know, if they press when they're behind, or if they do better when they're behind, or if their spare shooting's a little you know, just stuff like that. And Dennis is very impressive. And, you know, he's had the title for a while, and he's had it for a reason. And he's a great bowler, and he's got a track contract for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's definitely in a good home with him, but that doesn't mean that I can't give him a better home here.
Well, let's chat about something that you said. I want to harp on this a little bit.
Okay.
You said that you like to check out your competition.
Honestly, I don't a ton, but because of the magnitude of this match, I did.
Well, let me get to what I'm talking about here, because I found this fascinating. I was doing the play-by-play with your match against Dave Nagelhout for the title. Yeah. And every single shot that he had, you crouched down right behind him, you saw the line that he was playing, and then you adjusted accordingly. And that went 7, and I remember me doing it with Shannon Sellers, and Shannon said during the break, and Dave was up, and Shannon goes over to me, and she goes, "Who do you think's going to win?" And I said, "Alex is going to win in 7.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Why Dave is winning?" And I go, "If you see what Alex is doing, Alex is seeing exactly where Dave is throwing the ball, and he's going to make the adjustments, and he's going to force Dave to adjust in the 6th and 7th game." And sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, like with that, I know we said this in our Bowl TV interview, but I bowled not on that pair, but I bowled in that section, and and Westbrook kind of the pin reactions and like the lane, you know, how the ball goes through the pins and all that stuff. It kind of goes in like sections, not necessarily like in pairs. And the best look that I had in that section the day before was trying to just like slow hook the lane. That's why you kind of saw me so far right, kind of just looping the lane to start.
Remember that? Yep.
And after I lost the first game and I saw him kind of heating up a little bit, let's see, it was 1-1, right? I think it was 1-1. Once he started heating up, I started saying to myself that, where I'm at, I'm going to get to the pocket, but I don't think I'm going to be able to strike. The way that he's striking, because straight didn't work for me in my unholy squad in that area. I said straight didn't work for me, but he's making it work. So I got to get on top of him. And I went to a urethane blend ball. That's like a kind of like a 70-30 mix. And I was just like, if I can't strike enough to beat him from here, I was like, I have to find a way to make him strike less. So it was kind of like I got to strike more actually from being in that spot because I hadn't thrown that ball all weekend up until that point. It was really kind of like a defensive play right off the start. And then I really kind of had something. I was like, all right, I'm just going to stick with it.
It worked out fantastic. It worked out great in your favor.
Yeah. But that was definitely like the most strategic I've ever had to be in a WCS match. Also because I don't face a lot of lefties that often. I don't have to actually pull that bag. I don't have to pull that out of my bag of tricks to like play defense on somebody. And I can't I can't throw it back up. That's not my like some of these guys will slow hook the lane, throwing it back up, and if I do that, like I'll lose from the elbow down.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's just having that versatility of and that's also kind of what being a champion is about. You got to be able to give what the lane's going to give you instead of trying to force your A game down the throat. If you got to get all the way right where you're usually not that comfortable, but that's like your B game and you can do it. If you can go straight, you got to go up the crack or down and in, whatever. Having those different, having those different abilities to play where you want on the lane is going to give you the most chance to succeed. And if you can also learn how to smartly play defense, then that helps too.
There is defense in bowling. You and I both know that.
Absolutely. I made him move just enough. It's like when you're there and then the lane changes just enough where it's like, your ball's not going through the pins the right way. And then you try to start like changing things. And then it's like you were so close and then you start changing it. And then you start getting further and further and further away from where you actually were. And then you're lost. That's kind of like what I was going for. And that's fortunately what happened.
There you go. Now, we spoke about something else and we haven't spoken about them yet, but I do want to touch on them a little bit. How's the Mafia holding up during this quarantine period?
Pretty good. Carlos moved to Jersey. He's on my side of the bridge now.
Yeah, and he has a house. Great, and congratulations to him.
Yes, he does. Everyone else is doing okay. Carlos was sick for a little bit also, but he's doing better. He got over that. Everyone else, they're all in New York, and Jersey hasn't been great. COVID wise, but the city area has been even worse. So, thankfully, God bless all of my Mafia members have been healthy and safe and whatnot. Danielle's apparently taken up doing nails, and she posts about that all the time. And Allie just finished 13 Reasons Why, and Carlos has a house, and Miguel's doing what Miguel's doing. And
for a lot of people that are just tuning in here that don't know last names and don't know who they are and what they are, I will go through this a little bit. Carlos is Carlos Jimenez, two-time cruiserweight champion. So you have him, Miguel Ocobo,
world champion, heavyweight champion.
Yeah, used to hold that shiny belt that you currently have.
Yes.
Danielle Marino used to hold the Vixens title for the Northeast.
4 or 5 times.
And she and Carlos are in the tag team hunt because she's never had a piece of the tag team gold, and she's already said she wants it.
Yes, and Brian's with the uncapped tag team with me, and I think he's still on the heavyweight list also.
He absolutely is, correct.
And then you have Allie, who is the member who has the nice shiny ring on her finger.
Well, she has a nice shiny ring, and I believe she was also at one point tag teaming up with you.
No, well, she tag teamed with me.
Yes.
After Red decided that he wanted to try to battle through a torn leg muscle.
Well, That is another conversation for another time.
That's for another Zoom meeting.
That's for another Zoom meeting. So anyway, this has actually almost been for a half hour. So finally, I want to.
You didn't even ask me about my fancy new dreads.
Exactly. I want to chat about that a little bit. Let's talk about the fancy new dreads over here.
Go ahead. What do you want to know?
Talk to me about DHS and the move and how you're enjoying it, because you were in Jersey and then you're joined Tribe and you exchanged one set of threads for another set of threads.
So I was with Tribe for, what was it, 4 years? Something like that? Yeah. I've been in the UBA for a little over 5. I was with you guys for a cup of coffee, and then I went to Legacy for a year. And then I felt like, I just needed a little bit of a change. I went to Tribe with Nico, and we built something from the ground up. We what do we have, like 15, 20 bowlers when we first started? We missed the playoffs by we were in position to maybe jump into the last spot in the playoffs by the last season match. I shot 300 that game. I shot 300 that match at strike 10. And then we ended up losing 30-10 to Apocalypse. And then, so we built that up. We made a trip to the round of 8. That was like a highlight. And, unfortunately, it's no hard feelings against anybody, but, stuff changes, things change. And, it's just time, it's time to move on and stuff like that. We're all at different points in our life. And so I ended up, so me and Brian have been talking about moving and stuff like that. And, I moved to DHS to give them a little bit more help on the scratch end, because we have a lot of great handicap bowlers. So, I'm teaming up with Brian on the scratch pair. Honestly, we didn't get off to the start that we wanted to this year. We were a little slow out of the gate. But, with player availability, sometimes, it gets a little tough and whatnot. But I always had faith, even, in some of the matches that we weren't winning, like I still had faith in the team that we would end up turning it around. We started actually heating up right before COVID actually ended. Like we were off to a really slow start, and then we ended up, I think we were only like 4 points out of a playoff spot by that point. We beat X-Men, and I wasn't even in that match when we beat X-Men, so.
It's funny, B, that you mentioned the coronavirus, because there are some teams that are really happy that the season ended, because that's
like game over.
Well, I'm not going to mention team names, but
I will. Game over.
And there are other teams that were really upset because they were they knew they were going to make the playoffs.
Because they were making the push, like we were.
They're making the push. I mean, you almost had, and crazy for me to say this, you had at one point the bounty hunters in the playoffs if the season ended.
Yeah, who would have thought that? No offense to them.
Who would have thought that? The season did end. Unfortunately, there was no postseason for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So taking this all into consideration, what did you learn this year being with DHS that you can move into next year?
Honestly, this year for me, I knew a few of the guys, but there were some people who I didn't really know. I felt like this was even though maybe the points don't say it, this was a positive year for me, for them to get to know me better, and know the type of teammate that I am. Because, when it comes to my teammates, and when it comes to, the teams that I bowl for, and you've seen me with how I've been with Tribe for the last 4 years, and really kind of like help try to nurture that winning culture and that winning vibe in that team, and doing that with Nico. I'm trying to, it was nice getting to know new people, and it was nice for them to get to know me, and just be in a new scene, be in a new division, kind of have that fresh new challenge, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And like Tribe is loud, but DHS is kind of like loud, but like in a different kind of way.
Different sort of.
In like a Brooklyn kind of way, like a Bronx Brooklyn kind of way thing, But honestly, they were all really supportive of me. You know, they were really happy to have me there, and they welcomed me with open arms. Like I had been there for, you know, a lot of years and stuff like that. You know, like I said, being able to bowl with one of my best friends, Brian. You know, I've been wanting to bowl with him for a long time. We've been doing some tournaments together, and Frankie Jr. and all the Valdezes. You know, it's nice bowling. It's nice bowling with new people. And this is something, honestly, you know, I've been on a few teams now and stuff like that, but this is something where, you know, I want to help get DHS back into that glory winning circle kind of thing, you know, getting that world championship back at some point. Like, I think that I really do feel like we have a lot of the pieces that we need to make that type of run. And we have the experience and we have the quality handicap bowlers that we need. Like when we have our whole roster available to us, you know, we can be a very dangerous team. And when I joined DHS, I told Brian, I said, I'm going with you because I want to help DHS win, but I also believe that you guys are not far away. And I felt like I could help be that extra difference to get us to where we need to be. Because being from someone who's, you know me, with Tribe, I went there when there was nothing. There was nothing there. And we built that from the ground up. And I told Brian, I'm coming here because I want to help you, and I think we have what it takes because I'm not going through another rebuild. I'm not doing that again. If I'm going to another rebuild, I wasn't going to be doing it in New York because that's very expensive.
It's a very expensive rebuild.
It's a very expensive rebuild because I'm spending, you know, doing that. Listen, I'm traveling from Jersey. I'm going into Brooklyn. I'm going into Queens. That's like $30 a pop before I even pay my UBA match fee.
Yep.
So I'm spending $70, $80 per match. And, you know, I do this and I go into New York because, you know, I like to travel, but the people who I bowl with and the teammates that I have are amazing. And I couldn't ask for anything. I couldn't ask for anyone better to be teammates with. And they make it worth me paying that money, the extra money to do so. Because I got 10 teams within like 20 minutes of me from where I live. And I choose to go out and be with these guys and pay the extra money and really, you know, like when I'm on a team, I go all in, man. I go all in with whoever I'm with. And I just try to be the best teammate I can possibly be and just support my teammates the best I can. That's it.
There you go.
And just like they support me with this, you know, obviously it's hard kind of traveling around from Brooklyn and stuff like that, but they always show me, you know, love and they always support me when it comes to the belt. And, you know, they're proud of me that I can wear this jersey and hold this at the same time and kind of bring that championship caliber that I know this team has.
Cool. So finally, it's Alex time. Is there anything that I missed that you want to chat about?
Is there anything that you missed that I want to chat about?
Shout-outs, anything you want to say?
I miss my ball driller, Dino. I haven't seen him in a while. It's funny because I feel bad because every time I go through one of these interviews and stuff like that, you know, like I always forget to shout out Dino Chang, who's my pro shop guy. He's in Queens at Astoria, and I mean, I'm one annoying. I am one annoying customer, and you know all the stuff that Dino does for me and stuff like that. I mean, that guy has made he's made this possible. You know, he's done a lot for me, and you know, I just got to show some love to Dino. You know, but outside of that, you know, me Mafia, all my best friends, you know, my fiance, I love them all. DHS. You know, if any of them are watching it, you know, next year's going to be our year. We're going to do great. We're going to do big things. I want to be able to hang a banner with you guys, just like I did with Tribe. You know, I've won something everywhere I've gone, and it's time to add something else to the list.
There you go. Alex, thank you so much.
No problem.
It's been a fun interview. And for Alex Prell, this has been Gordon Pepper, and this has not been just 5 good minutes. This has been 35 good minutes.
That's
with
right.
with your Northeast heavyweight champion. UBA all day.